difficulties of being transgender, I think, can be traced back to just society in general. Anything out of the norm is just not accepted, but it's also comes and stems from education. We are having more exploratory research done more so today on gender and where it comes from and what really is gender and all of this. So education is obviously, even here on YouTube, it's expanding, but we need more of that, and we need education in the lower grades and in sex ed and schools, and we need just people to be more aware, which is a good thing with YouTube and videos like this. We're able to tell people exactly what it is to be transsexual and how it isn't a fetish and how this is just me being a woman. It's very difficult to be transsexual, whether you're male to female or female to male, but we each have our difficulties. So female to male can get their voice to go to a man's just by taking testosterone, so they're lucky that way. Us male to females aren't so lucky, because I was born with a male body and I went through a male puberty. My voice is almost unalterably changed without surgery, and even then the surgeries aren't very good for making a voice feminine. So I end up having to go through voice pathology lessons or through some kind of voice surgery to make it lower. So we're not so lucky. So the males are much luckier than us females when it comes to voice, but then we are much luckier when it comes to surgery, because we're able to turn our male genitalia into female genitalia much easier than a female is able to turn hers into male. So it kind of is a wash, I think, on both sides, and depending on how you look at it. But no matter what, it's difficult being transgender in general because of society, because our educational system, because just because of religion, especially in America, it's a very Christian-based, new world or whatever. So we basically, have a lot of people who feel like this is a tragedy by way of religion or religiously speaking, that it's something that God would look down on and frown upon. And so they, most people who are Christian or very religious will turn their backs on us. My father did that. He, and I've said this in a lot of my videos before, obviously not on this channel, but on my own personal channel, that my father said I was, evil. And he told my brothers and sisters I was evil. So there's a lot of downsides to coming out to a family that you've been, the opposite gender, on the female to male or male to female. You've been the opposite gender that you feel you are, and then when you come out to them, they just don't take it well. They have a hard time seeing it. I mean, listen to my voice now. If I didn't resemble a woman on this screen, you wouldn't think I was a woman just by my voice if you heard me over the telephone or anything. I mean, I have to actually lay on my woman's voice for anybody to really see me as one, which, like I said, it's a huge difficulty for us transsexual women. And then it can be difficulties for transsexual men who haven't taken testosterone yet. So, anyways, the difficulties are there. I mean, here you can hear you can hear me talking in my more feminine voice, and you can see that it's much easier to see me as a female now using this voice than it is using the other voice. But I chose to shoot my video in this voice today because it doesn't really matter. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm transsexual, I'm a woman, regardless of what voice I speak in, and I wanted you to see how difficult it is for us to be transsexuals, the voice alterations that we have to learn to make, the changes in society. I just wanted to make mention of that and to tell you that overall it's very difficult to be a transsexual. Even coming to terms with ourselves was difficult. For me to finally just accept and say, okay, yes, this is who I am. It took a long time. Even though I knew who I was, I couldn't really ever accept it because I knew it would make me the outsider I never wanted to be. It would make me somebody who wasn't as accepted, somebody who didn't fit in as well as, the majority. And who wants to put themselves on the outsider, just as an outsider? Who wants to put themselves into this world as an outsider? So anyways, that's some of the reasons, outlining some of the reasons of why it's difficult being transsexual today.
So yeah, there's always the non-acceptance from loved ones and religious groups. And then there's the legal issues. For example, I went to change my name and gender, and it was a process. I had to advertise it in the newspaper for like 8 weeks, and then I had a court date, and then the judge was like, I grant your request, and I was like, yay, problem solved. But then I went to go get a passport, and they said that I would have to get a new birth certificate before I can do that, and also asked me if I had had the surgery yet, which is not a thing. It's not a thing. And the people in the government building, in my opinion, should be educated on things like that. There's no such thing as the transsexual surgery. My identification, my paperwork says male, and it says Emery. I understand that they need a birth certificate, but that's not something that they made me aware of before going through all of that information, or all of that hoopty. So yeah, there's like the basic frustration with that and sort of embarrassment because the old man at the counter just was so confused by my situation that he had to get his superior, and I had to wait for her and then talk to her, and then she's the one that asked me if I'd had the surgeries, and it's like, the paper in front of you says that I'm male. Like, it's none of your business other than that at all, because a judge has already said it. Anyway, so that's frustrating. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was being trans on YouTube. And there are way more pros than cons about that. But one of the things that I am dealing with daily recently, there are people who will come on to my videos and other people's videos and say things like, this is so wrong, and you're just, you just couldn't hack it as a girl, or like, just like really stupid stuff like that. Like literally really ignorant things that don't make any sense. And as an activist and as a human being with feelings and an ego, I want to put them in their place and say things like, you need to educate yourself, or like try to educate them, or call them out on some other video that they've commented on because you can see their feed, or just react. And I don't know if I should be reacting because it's an opportunity to maybe educate them, or if it's just perpetuating the crap, you know? So I struggle with that, because it's really easy to just say, like, you should ignore it, just delete it and forget about it. But at what point are you, like saying it's okay, I think Jess is going after me, so that'll be interesting to see Jess's perspective on the difficulties of being transsexual.
Hey guys, it's Jess, and this is my contribution to Kaylee's video that has already been responded to by Emery. So I am cisgendered and I have a trans partner, but that's not really what I want to talk about in this video. What I wanted to mention is that I believe there are a lot of struggles in being transgender, but the cause of most of that struggle is not being understood. And it makes it harder to find information, it makes it harder to relate to other people, it makes people feel like outcasts. And I think that's mainly where the problem lies. The reason I wanted to make a response to this video is just before Kaylee posted her video, I was watching, on YouTube, looking at different videos and stuff, and I started to look at adverts, and sorry, poppin' honey. So I started to look at adverts, and I remembered an ad that we had in Ireland. I believe it was 2 years ago, but I'm just gonna double check now. Okay, so this was an ad last year on Irish television. It completely just blows me away. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit it in right now.
Ian Reid wrote on our Facebook wall, "Can't wait to see some beauties at Cheltenham Ladies' Day." Well, we hear you, Ian, and we're going to make Ladies' Day even more exciting by sending in some beautiful transgendered ladies. Spot the stallions from the mares. Here we go. Woman. Oh, definitely a woman. Man, woman, dog, I mean the man, and that's, well, good luck with that, Ian. And remember, all the runners, all the riders right in the palm of your hand with Paddy Power Mobile. We hear you, Ian Reid.
Okay, so this was an ad on public television that was watched by thousands of people, from children to the older generation, and there's not even words to describe how ridiculous I think it is. It's just so wrong. It was aired not only in Ireland but in the UK, which I wasn't aware of, but it has now been banned. In Ireland, I remember reading it like a week ago or so, but I can't remember the exact number. I believe there were only about 300 complaints made about this video, which is just incredibly, it's just disgusting. Like, there's no other word for it. I mean, you would not see an advert like that anymore about, basically, to put it into words, things that people do not know about and don't understand aren't accepted, or, you know, they're difficult. Like, we don't need to go that far back where we would see Persil adverts, for example, that were depicting black people next to white people, being like, Persil soaps gets your whites really white. Like, completely just racist, you know, horrible ads. Possibly not even that long ago, I'm sure there were adverts discriminating against the gay community, but you would not see that much anymore. Anything too negative against the gay community, at least in advertising. It's not used as like a joke or a punchline, but this is an advert from 2012, completely, like, without a question, discriminating against the transgender community. I mean, how are we expecting the world to become a better place and to learn and to accept, and for it to be a place where it's easier to be transgender, when people aren't being taught that it's okay, and people are still being taught that, you know, it's hilarious picking out the stallions from the mares, you know? So yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the topic. I think that obviously, regardless of how the general public looks at being transgender, there's still going to be issues around being trans, like dysphoria and difficulty with hormones and things like that, and surgeries that are not going to go away just because the public's opinion changes. But, you know, having the general consensus changing on something, I really do believe would make a great difference in difficulties such as coming out, worrying about family, you know, feeling alone and scared and confused. I believe that one of the main difficulties with being trans is the lack of knowledge around what being trans actually means.
Okay, so I tried to make this video once or twice before, but I just sounded really depressing, and I'm not a depressing person. I'm actually quite pleasant to be around, and there's a lot of things that I want to say. So number one, being trans is difficult because I haven't had sex for a really long time, and that is me being honest. I haven't had sex because I feel uncomfortable with my body, and I don't want my girlfriend to see my parts in that way. And I don't know how to fix that, and the only way I know how to fix that is to go on hormones and become more of who I am in my head, up here. There's difficult times because I haven't told my parents yet, and they love religion. Hopefully not more than they love me. I also have had some difficulties. There's also that time I get called ma'am every day, and those times where I get called sweetheart and young lady and or ladies. That's not fun. I also have times where I I'm never able to go into the men's room because I'm scared to death. I do not look male. I look female. And so I go into the female bathroom where I feel uncomfortable because there's ladies peeing next to me and I don't feel right about that. Or what about that time I was at the gym and I had to change in front of other naked women? And I just have the wrong body and I'm a guy stuck in a girl's body seeing other women change. I don't like that. They would not like that. I'm sure their mothers would not like that. I am terrified of judgment from my family, for one. That, you know, we all have blood in our veins, and we all breathe oxygen, and we're all like 80% water, trans or not. Ideally, the world would be so much easier if we just saw that and we didn't see gender and sexuality or orientation or any of those things. I would be very, very happy if that could happen. But I don't think Prime Minister Stephen Harper or President Barack Obama are about to implement those rules for anyone. Something that may be hard for me may not be hard for Emery. Something that may be easy for me may be hard for Andy. It's, you know, each of us have our struggles, and I really hope that you guys feel comfortable talking to me, and I feel comfortable talking to you about these struggles, because we should not be struggling alone when we have everyone on this channel for support, you know? I want people to know that I don't think that my struggles are any more important than your struggles or difficulties, trans or not trans. I think that cisgendered people have difficulties that are just as hard as trans guys and trans girls. And I think that we have difficulties and things in our lives that are just as hard as a cisgendered male or female. It doesn't matter your sexual orientation, your race, your gender, your religion, where you're from. We all suffer, okay? You know, it's just human nature. And the key is love. Love. I don't want you to suffer, just as much as you don't want me to suffer. But because we know we have difficulties, let's just try to be nice to each other. How about that? Stop the wars about oil. Who wants to fight about oil? Like oil? I'd rather fight about jelly beans. Who gets black ones? Who, you know? Who gets to finish the ice cream? I probably will. Anyway, I hope this all made sense, and I want to encourage everybody that this is a collaboration, and I would love to hear people's opinions and views on what are the difficulties of being transgender, transsexual. In a video response down here, or you can comment, share this video to everybody, get everybody to comment, everybody to video response, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your second cousin, third cousin, fourth cousin, whoever, your neighbor, your teacher. I mean, a lot of people can learn from what you have to say. Peace.
Let's go out back and plant a family tree.